morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the planet you are on. I know some of our brothers in Asia are fast and asleep and probably close to daybreak. For those of us in Africa, I know it's almost 4 or 5 p.m. in the day. People in North America, yes, it's a new day, 8:30, 9:30 in the morning, depending on what part of America you're in. Today, we have a fantastic topic again. All our topics are always very fantastic. This is Atlanta Discuss. My name still remains Ade Balogun. I'm your moderator, your host. Some call me the anchorman. Yes, I'm all of it. It's always a discourse. And here we just go for the facts. We try and bridge the gap. We are the voice of the unheard. We balance the information equation. We discuss IT, sports, politics, and faith-based issues, economic issues. We just don't shy away from the facts. And to do that, we have to bring experts, erudite scholars, people that know their onions, people that have earned their epaulets, people that know their left from their right, people that do not allow stomach infrastructure to affect how they disseminate the truth. That is why today we have a guest with us, a fantastic one. And our topic, like I told you earlier, is we're trying to look at how to create a balance in trade between North America and Africa. And there's no other person to bring to you today than Bamidele Ayemibo. Bamidele, welcome to Atlanta Discuss.
Thank you for having me. Good day.
Okay, let me just tell you about Bamidele. It's going to take me like 2 minutes because he's a very heavy guy in his area. So let me just read what he's got. So Bamidele is a lead consultant at 3T Impact Trade Academy. The Export King, as is popularly and fondly called, is a trade consultant with numerous trade certifications. He is the first certified specialist in demand guarantee in Nigeria and among the first 10 in Africa. That's a lot, He holds a master's in international business with law from Southwark Manchester University, United Kingdom, and he holds a PhD in international business and marketing with the LIGS University in Hawaii, United States of America. He conceived, designed, and facilitated the training of the first export diploma program and 6 trade professional development programs in Africa in conjunction with the American Institute of Extended Studies. He's a member of the International Chambers of Commerce Working Group on Trade Relations and Blockchain in the World as part of the ICC Commission on Custom and Trade Facilitation. He's a facilitator at the Lagos Business School, a member of the Board of Trustees and Executive Council of Network on Oil Exporters of Nigeria. The former chairman, Export Group at the Lagos Chambers of Commerce and Industry. He is also an online TV host of the foremost trade program, Import-Export Platform, online every Thursday by 5 p.m. and the author of 5 trade books, Export Business Made Easy, Import Business Made Easy, Demand Guarantee Made Easy, Standby Letter of Trade Credit Made Easy, and A to Z of Export Business Financing. I'm sure clearly you see this guy is a man for the job. He started the first international trade center in Nigeria, where bankers, importers, exporters all come for open training program, tutorials on different trade finance examination. He's an avid blogger who regularly posts export-related information on www.tradeinfong.com. He regularly facilitates international trade finance-related training for Fidelity Bank, Central Bank of Nigeria, Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, First Bank PLC of Nigeria, FCMB of Nigeria, Access Bank of Nigeria, Wema Bank, Heritage Bank, EcoBank, just to mention a few. Welcome, Bamidele Ayemibo, to Atlanta Discuss.
Thank you.
Clearly, yes, we're going to have fun today. We're going to have a discussion. I mean, most of the things I'm going to ask are questions people have sent to me. So that's why we're going through. What is the current situation in the trade relation between Nigeria and the USA? Just let's know what's happening right now.
We still are not doing so well. US is a very big market. US literally controls about 1/3 of purchasing power in the world, even though the population is just about 350 million. I think over 300 million at least.
Yeah, 350. You're right with
350 million. So, but control enormous purchasing power in the world. So, any country that is not trading with America, it has not started. Actually, you can't be international trade in the world and you're not doing business with America. But we're not there yet for a number of reasons. So, and that also is affecting our trade with not just America, with a number of other countries around the world. Given the size of Nigeria and given the opportunity and potential of the country, we still are not crashing international trade on the surface, both import and export. Some people think we are doing a lot of import, and Nigeria is importing a lot. South Africa is importing more than Nigeria. South Africa's import is over 90 billion. Nigerian import is just about 50-something billion. If you add all the smuggling, undervaluing, and the like, maybe like 60-70 billion. It's still not up to South Africa. Of course, export of South Africa is a lot more than Nigeria. So given the size of the country, the landmass, the population, the resources, we are not even scratching the surface. And America presented an opportunity on AGOA for us to be able to take advantage of that, but we've not been able to take advantage of that for a number of reasons we will be talking about today.
Yeah, that was going to be my second question. I was going to talk about AGOA. So can you please tell us what the meaning of AGOA, what it entails? Why are we not maximizing the potentials of AGOA? Which African countries have maximized it, just to show that if we're not doing it well, others have done it and how they are doing it?
AGOA is Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. African Growth and Opportunity Act, and is a law of United States. It's an act of the Parliament in the United States, and it's a law that is giving Africa opportunity to be able to trade with America duty-free. And it's actually for sub-Saharan Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa, that's excluding North African countries. Sub-Saharan Africa, and the idea is this: if we give you chance into our market by reducing tariff on a number of products, you will be able to trade with us. And if you increase your export to America, then you are going to be able to increase growth of the factories or manufacturers and businesses in your country, and thereby create an opportunity to hire more people, create jobs, reduce poverty and inequality. That's the idea in theory, but in practice, that has not been our experience as a nation. I like to use an analogy of why Nigeria is not able to enjoy or maximize the opportunity in AGOA. It's like giving a baby that does not have a teeth, give me a turkey, a turkey lap with the normal meat, but it doesn't have a teeth. So it cannot enjoy the value of that thing. That's the analogy. The opportunity is huge, but we still have not developed that capacity to be able to maximize it. And the reason, in my opinion, is because the government still have alternative means of generating revenue. So we talk about diversification with mouth, but in action, we are not making effort in that regard. If we're really serious, when I try to check what countries that are growing trade are doing, I just realized that we have not even started. When you see what countries that are topping the trade, the kind of policy they have in place, the kind of support they give, how they ensure that the businesses keep exporting. Let me give you an example. During the 2008-2009 financial crisis that started in the US, I think it was the real estate sector that sparked that then, a number of European businesses could not ship to Africa because of the challenge of not getting paid.
Oh, wow.
Even though they are issuing LC. So the IFC, of course, you know, World Bank, IMF, IFC, we are part of it, but we are... This for them. You know what I mean? For you people in the West.
We are fringe members. Fringe.
Now, they set up what they call a global trade finance program that guarantee letter of credit from Africa. So even though the letter of credit was supposed to guarantee payment from Africa is now shaky because of the financial crisis in the world, they have to guarantee. So it's like a bank in Nigeria issue an LC, IFC guarantee the LC so that a German company can ship to Nigeria. That way, they can keep the factory going, because if they are not able to ship, they will have to sack people. People will lose jobs. The government is going to take the hit because people are going to say the government is unpopular because people are losing their job and the government is not doing anything about it. So the government have to ensure they guarantee letter of credit from Africa to be able to ensure the factory keeps shipping to Africa in spite of the fact that they have concern with our LC, so that when any of those payment instruments fail, they can step in to protect their businesses. Now, that's a step, that's just an example to show how countries are deliberate about supporting their businesses to be able to keep doing business. But you don't see that in Africa. A number of Southern African countries have been able to take advantage of it. Even small countries as small as, I think Namibia recently, even was able to now begin to export a product that many African countries have not been able to export, that is beef products. Wow. It took them a lot to final certification, but eventually they're able to do it. And a number of other South African countries, East African countries like Kenya and the like, being able to take advantage of it, not because we're not shipping at all. I'm just talking about what we should be doing vis-a-vis what we are doing. What we are doing, vis-a-vis what we should be doing is we are not there at all. We can do a lot more than we're currently doing in terms of trade with North America.
So I was reading here that in 2022, Nigeria is the second largest export destination in sub-Saharan Africa. How so is that?
Export destination for the US.
For the US, yes.
Yes, because we do a lot of import from the US. We do a lot of import from the US. What we've not done is to be able to ensure we balance it all with export from Nigeria to the US. But we do a lot of import from the US. I mean, so many stuff that we currently import from the US, from cars to wheat to, different products. So Nigeria is a major destination actually when it comes to import. But when it comes to export, US is among the top import origin of Nigeria. But in terms of export, we are nowhere.
I see here that cocoa, cashew nuts, and animal feeds are just majorly what we export to America and some crude oil.
This is another problem of Africa. You know, Africa is doing a lot in terms of export, volume-wise, but value-wise. You know,
what do you mean by how can it be high and had a value?
No, volume and value. Let me define volume. Volume in terms of metric tons and number of containers.
Okay.
Value in terms of earnings in US dollar terms.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Let me give you an analogy. If I'm exporting a ton of cashew nut at a price of about $1,000 per metric ton, I can only put about 17 metric tons in the container. That means max $17,000 for a container of raw cashew nut. I can sell cashew kernel. That's when you remove the shell. You have not even roasted it. In the cashew kernel, that's the white stuff inside. The price can be as high as $10,000 per metric ton. And I can put up to 20 tons in a container. 20 tons times 1 times 10,000, that's about $200,000 in a container. If I'm shipping that container to US now, the price is about $3,000. I'm going to incur the same $3,000 I'm going to use to ship $17,000 worth of container, the same $3,000 to ship $200,000 worth of container. The total market size of cocoa beans is less than $10 billion, 9-point-something billion. The market size of one of the value chain of cocoa bean, which is chocolate, is over $30 billion. So then you begin to ask yourself, who is making money? So we do a lot of shipment of cocoa, of cashew, of commodities. But in terms of the value we get, is so low because of the issue of value addition.
How do we ameliorate that kind of thing? I mean, how do we find a way around it? How do we have a soft landing? What ingenuity do? I mean, you're the experts. How do we change the narrative?
You mean how do we solve this problem?
Yes, sir.
There must be a deliberate policy. That's exactly where I'm saying that. You know, the central bank governor, both the old and the new, the old before he left, before he was asked to step aside or sack, he was in and out of Aso Rock with this administration that is less than 100 days. The central bank new governor has been out of Aso Rock, even addressing press conference. The Nigerian Export Promotion Council, ED, has not been to Aso Rock. At least I've not seen in the news. The next Zim Bank MD has not been to Aso Rock. At least I've not seen in the news. I don't know, Minister of Trade, he just appointed, so let's see what happens in the next 3-4 months. But where I'm going is, you will see that it seems as if we are deliberate, because if you look at the situation Nigeria is in right now, out of the major source of foreign exchange generation, trade in goods, trade in services, foreign direct investment, foreign portfolio investment, remittances. Remittances are the welfare economics, the one you guys send home to support
the one that is holding the economy.
Yes, the one you guys send home. Now, that one is still coming. But you see, foreign direct and foreign portfolio investment, even remittancy, foreign direct and foreign portfolio investment, we don't have control over it. You guys and the investor decide they want to invest in Nigeria. Currently, they are not investing in Nigeria. Our politics is shaky. We are not sure of where we are going currently in the politics until the judiciary determine the final result and the Supreme Court take final decision and we know where we are going. Nobody's going to invest in Nigeria. So can I show you something? Maybe that will also help.
Go ahead. Go ahead. It's a discussion.
So enable me to share my screen.
Okay. Why not?
Enable me to share my screen. Let me show you a particular. I want to show you a graphics that shows the current status of investment into Nigeria in general. So if you look at this slide, you will notice something. You will notice that this is for foreign portfolio investment. They call it hot money. Those that come in capital market. Can you see the decline?
Yes, major decline.
Major decline from 2019 down till date. Now, and these are what's affecting value of Naira, really. Same for foreign direct investment. See foreign direct investment also. These are going down. Why? Because I want to bring money into an economy where I'm sure of my return. I'm sure of stability. I'm sure of what will happen next. So the option we are left with that we have control over is trading goods and trading services. You see those trading goods and services that we have control over? That should be our focus right now. I should be hearing every speech of the president right now talking about export, export, export. Trade, trade, trade. I'm not hearing that. And then it begin to get me concerned because I'm asking myself, so how do we, because until we settle our issues politically, and this is going to come in to be able to stabilize the demand and supply in the FX market, the major source right now is depending on oil, crude oil. If the price of that crude oil crash today, we'll be in big problem as a nation. JP Morgan just made an analogy, even though I didn't agree with the analogy, about the fact that foreign reserve 3 point something, they are netting off all the forward, netting off all the outstanding obligation of Nigeria that is due in many years to come. So you can't just net it off today because we are still going to head of dollar. I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, I think what JP Morgan was trying to say really is that we've never used our foreign reserve as like a collateral for borrowing in the past, so to say. It's supposed to be, it's supposed to be value of the export capacity we have, you understand? But we all know that in the last 8 years, there were a lot of voodoo economics that went on, a lot of which we are only guessing. Well, we know that every day we're just going to see the revelations that are very baffling, shocking, and embarrassing. But you see, at Atlanta Discuss, there's something I always say. There's no episode I don't talk about it. I always say that 1 out of every 4 sub-Saharan African is a Nigerian. 1 out of every 6 Black people in the whole world is a Nigerian. So, technically speaking, Nigeria is the largest concentration of Black people.
Of Black people in the world,
anywhere from Pluto, Uranus, Saturn. I mean, anywhere you have Black people, concentration of Black people. You know, if a colleague of mine, you know, the other day we're discussing, you know, I went for a seminar somewhere. So one of my colleagues were like, he said, Ade, there are too many Nigerians are criminal. This guy, Nigerians are criminal. They kept on saying, I kept quiet. So when it was my turn to speak, so I just went for the jugular and I just told them, look, I explained to them that even during slavery, they were picking slaves in Nigeria from 4 different locations. Every other place was from one. So even by virtue of numbers, all of you in America, Blacks, if you check your ancestry DNA, I'm sure that 60% of you are from Nigeria. You understand? And I said, okay, so logically, if 1 out of every 4 sub-Saharan Africans is in Nigeria, 1 out of every 6 Black is in Nigeria. So if you see 10 criminals that are Blacks, it's not impossible that half of them will be Nigerian. It's just a game of numbers. It's just a game of numbers. We're more. Then I told them, let's flip it, which was where I was really going to hit them. You know, I said, if you see 10 Black doctors in America today, what percentage of them will be Nigerian?
Exactly.
Somebody said 6.
I love
somebody
that
said, somebody said 7. Yeah, someone said 6, somebody said 7. I said, that's exactly what it is. It's a game of number. So there are black people, there are bad people everywhere in the world. There are good people anywhere in the world. But the people that have the majority is likely to have more of them. Yeah, they have more criminals. They have more educated people. They have more, the richest top 10 in Africa. At least there are 3 top 10 wealthiest Africans. There are at least 3 Nigerians there.
In Nigeria.
Abdul Samad is there. Mike Adenuga is there. Aliko is sitting there on top. But I agree with you also when you said that if we don't sort our political issues, I see no reason why we should have an election, swearing a president when cases are still in court. In Kenya, they do it in 1 month, I think, or a week. Ghana too, they expedite all this thing. So it does look like our problem is even more of political than capacity. You understand?
You have just nailed it.
Does look,
you have just nailed it. Look, let me get on that point. The real issue, if we can solve the politic issue, we'll solve our
economic issues.
Yes, because then we'll be able to put the round peg in round hole.
Oh, wow.
People will not get position because of the way they contribute to someone getting to the office. They get the position because they have what it takes to get the job done. They have what it takes. And because they have what it takes to get the job done, they also are conscious of the fact that if they don't perform, they are going to be out. I was telling someone, I was talking to some people in the current party. One of them wanted to do export, and they came to see me, and he was saying, okay, what will I advise the current administration? Because he see opportunity here, and he want to see if he can get it across to the current president. And I said, I want to see a situation where the president, when he's appointing his ambassadors, give them a marching order and say, in 1 year, if you don't double the trade of Nigeria with your country right now, you're on your own. That means as an ambassador, you are there to sell Nigeria. So you have to check the trade of Nigeria with the country I'm posting you to is $5 million. In the next 6 months, 1 year, double it. Keep doubling it year on year. That's a major KPI for you. If the ambassador know that, he won't get to that country, and we want to organize, and I've experienced this as a Nigerian trying to organize, attend a trade fair in Cote d'Ivoire, and seeing a situation where the people in the embassy sabotage the process because they had issue with the Nigerian we're working with there in, I don't know, whatever is expected from them. And,
oh, wow.
And we came in, and do you know they sabotage it? It cost that guy more. They ensure whatever support they give as an embassy, they did not give it. And this is supposed to be embassy of Nigeria. They're supposed to increase trade. But they didn't do it. So imagine that kind of thing. In Nigeria, we have JETRO, Japanese Export Promotion Agency. In Nigeria, to support export from Japan, NEPC is supposed to have a desk in every Nigerian embassy around the world. If I want to export to US, it shouldn't be going. I should be able to write the embassy. The embassy give me all the information I need and support me. That's what happened for many countries. That's not what happened for me. In fact, there's a particular guy who worked with the European embassy in Nigeria. He attended our executive diploma in export business management, and I was asking why. He said it's a Nigerian working in a European embassy in Nigeria to help with trade, and he's doing that program to help trade from France to Nigeria.
Wow.
To Nigeria.
Can you imagine that?
So you begin. So when you look at it, as I said, immediately. So when we get the politics right, and the person, whoever is in charge, knows that look, this is what must be done. It's not about politics now. It's about Nigeria. It's about our future. Putting people in a position that know that if they don't perform, this what will happen.
Yeah, but you see, I'm happy you nailed it. I'm very happy about that because I'm very pleased that you even went for the jugular. Here we always like, but you see, the problem I have is that at my age, I think I can talk about every Nigerian president from when Obasanjo was a military man to military head of state till date. And the way I see it, we've been having this problem since the time of Shagari. Nothing has really changed. As far as I'm concerned, during Shagari, Nigeria was even where we had issues, almost irreparable issues. And it just seems that when we take 2 steps forward, we take 5 backward. When we're able to take 4, we take 10 backward. So people say I'm too pessimistic. It's not that I want to be pessimistic. I still don't see, that light at the end of the tunnel. It's not as if we don't have to. Even in America, individually, we all do well. Collectively, there's a problem. You know, some of us are going out of our way to make sure that the collective narrative is. I mean, I'll give you another example. Look at the Jewish people.
Yes.
They work so well together, and they influence the American politics, everything, institution to favor Israel and any other Jewish establishment. The Irish, they use everything they have. Even the Colombians, the Hispanics, even though the Hispanics are not a monolith, so to say, because those from Cuba do not really agree with those from other areas. Everybody thinks that there's supremacy and all that. But my solution for Nigeria, and I'll say, because here we don't just like to criticize always, because it's always a discussion.
Proper solution.
Conversation. My solution has always been India. Let us look at India. I think that's even our largest trading partner. But I still have a couple of more trade questions for you. But I'm compelled to go into this because of what we've been talking about. India is the most populous democracy in the world.
Yes.
The democratic country with largest concentration of human beings is India. I think right now they're even more populated than China. I think that happened in the last.
Yes.
They're more populated than China. Now, yes. India is also an extremely volatile democracy. You know, a prime minister, that's Indira Gandhi was assassinated. There was no coup. The son Rajiv was made prime minister. It was assassinated. There was no coup. So there's a lot of instability in India, but the politics keep going on. India is a nuclear superpower. 4-5 years ago, malaria was killing people in India. Today, India of about 1.2 billion. Nigeria has more poor people with 200 million people. We have more poor people than India of 1.2 billion. So I think because of India's diversity, ethnic diversity, religious diversity, colonized by Britain, Pakistan are bolted out of India when they could not agree. Bangladesh, same thing. I think there's a lot of similarity between Nigeria and India.
Between Nigeria and India.
Yeah. I think we should take an holistic look at that Indian constitution. I've gone through it like a couple of times, and I think it's just a no-brainer. That's the way to go. You understand? India was colonized by Britain. They absorbed everything good about Britain, but
and reject the bad part. Other things.
Yeah, they still wear their clothes, speak their language. In fact, the UK Prime Minister today, I think, is even of Indian origin, to show you that the colonization is even reversed. You know, so I mean, it is baffling. It's mind deflating the way Nigeria is going about things. Because we don't lack the manpower. One more thing before I go to the next question. There was something you said that until we get the politics right, we'll be able to put square pegs in square holes. NEPC, Nigeria Export Promotion Council, the government have not met them. Like you said, if they have met them, we've not seen it on TV, Nexim Bank and all that. So I do think that until merit is at the forefront, we're going to be circumnavigating and going around the circle. So my next question is, how does Nigeria contribute to international trade in any way? I know we're a crude oil country, but is there any way, apart from manpower? I mean, if it's manpower, you can go into it. But how do we contribute to international trade with our population and all that?
Our contribution is currently very small. In trading services, we are growing because of technology and IT. We're having a number of setup within Nigeria. A number of people are working, able to export services. It's still very small. I mean, even generally in the world, trading services is still trade in the world is almost nearing 28, 29 trillion. Trading services is just about 5-6 trillion, and trading goods about 21, 22 trillion.
Wow. So that's negligible.
Yes, trading services is still small, but we are growing. Now, in trading goods, we're not contributing reasonably. No. The whole of Africa contribution to trade is about 2.5%. The whole of Africa.
Oh, wow.
Out of the $21.5 trillion, the whole of Africa, our trade in Africa, Nigeria and South Africa is about $150 billion. The whole of the remaining part of Africa contribute about 350. So the whole of Africa, 500 plus. In fact, Netherlands, a country of 15, 17 million people, export of Netherlands alone is more than the whole of export of Africa put together.
If you look at a map of Europe, you have to strain your eyes to see Netherlands. you have to strain your eyes.
Export of Netherlands alone is more than the whole of Africa. Netherlands is almost 600 billion. Africa is hovering between 400 and 500 billion. As a continent, So our contribution is very negligible. And like I said, one of the major reasons is because we are doing a lot of commodities. A lot of commodities. So, and that's why it's so painful when the government is talking and they're talking about cocoa, cashew, ginger. And I'll be asking myself, how on earth do we want to grow trade? And what we're talking about is how to increase export of cocoa beans. Why are we thinking, do we really want to end forex? We have to say, okay, what is India from exporting chocolate? What policy do we need to put in place to export processed cashew? Because we have strength in agri, so let's focus on agri. But can we begin to see how we can support export of value add? Can we see how that's not the policy we should be putting in place, but we still focus on commodity. And the reason is because majority of the exporter in Nigeria, 60% of exporter in Nigeria, 60% of importer in Nigeria are foreigners, according to CBN. Foreigners.
Wow.
So
the Indians, the Syrians, the Lebanese, and all that.
Asian mainly. They are not interested in adding value. So government will put a policy to prevent commodity export. They are not interested in adding value. They are interested in sourcing commodity for their parent company who is processing it in their country. So if we don't put policy in place to ensure that we minimize quantity that can be exported and then support local production in whatever way possible, we will not be able to grow our export volume. We won't be able to.
It goes back to the initial point we said. We have to get the politics right. I'm telling you. I think we have too many theories, too many paperwork, too many resource documents. I'm sure you've delivered so many paper. The way forward is not the problem. You understand? You guys have delivered so many. Before I ask my next, let me tell you something that happened recently. You know, I was talking with some Malaysian friends, and so something came out. They said that they came here in the 60s for oil palm sample and all that Nigeria has sent well over 20 delegations to Malaysia to come and understudy. You know, I was so offended. I said, what are you guys? I said, yes, that his uncle is a minister in the government, that he said they always send every 2 years, that some people will come from the Senate, some people will come from the House of Representatives, some will be federal government delegation, even some state government will send people that about 8 years ago, that they had to lock them out of the government commerce the division. That they now ask them, all the ones we've been giving you in the past, what did you do with it? We're just giving you blueprint. It's the same thing.
Are not. They are not coming to come and learn.
It's ESTA code. It's the ESTA code. They just want to travel and make money.
They are not coming to come. And when you check those that they are coming, you really see farmers who is in that sector. You really see processors in that sector. You really see practitioner, exporter in that sector. The people coming are portfolio farmers, political farmers. They are not the people who will practice what has been learned. They are not. They are supposed to put policy in place. They are not interested. Because
with the level of indolency in government in Nigeria, they don't even read. They don't read those documents, you know?
No, we have enough information to do what we're supposed to do. It's just that, let me give an analogy why that will not happen. If a road is bad in Nigeria, and you want to fix it as a well-meaning Nigerian, this is the road to my house or my road to my area, I can afford to fix it. You want to fix it, the government will not allow you to fix it. They will tell you need an approver and they will not approve it. Why? If you fix it, how do we put it in the budget every year? And ensure that the money is obtained every year and the job is not done. So if we do it, so there are governors that are performing and people in politics will be telling them, why are you doing all this? Why do you want to finish all the work in 1 year? What do you want to do next year? Can you see the mindset? I have friends in politics. I have my classmates, some of them are commissioners. And I engage some of them. And when I hear what they tell me, sometimes I can't blame people that have given up. I can't blame them at all. Because you'll be wondering, they'll be telling you, if you finish all the road this year, what will you do next year? I think it's only road you can do.
And the unfortunate thing is that I was analyzing recently because I'm a member of Nigerian Diaspora Organization, and it's something I believe so much in. So we do a lot of engagement. You've engaged us a couple of times. And in my own personal research, I actually discovered that more than 50% of the Nigerian current political office holder have some semblance of diaspora in them. Either they went to school here or something, or they've lived here or something. I looked at it from top downwards. They've all lived abroad, schooled abroad. They've seen how the system works. They know what it is to do the right thing at the right time, where a system works, where if you slap the police, you are messed up for life, And the same people, and that's where I'm going, the same people that have been a beneficiary of where the system works are the one messing it up. There was a time there was a company, because I used to be in shipping and marine industry in the past. So I used to work for a company. I was superintending Togo and Benin. So to fly from Lagos to Cotonou is about 10 minutes. So there's no fun in it. So sometimes I go by road. So one of the things I know is that the driver that drives me between on that Badagry road, he drives anyhow. But the man will cross that Seme border. The guy conforms, he behaves. And that's Benin is supposed to be a small country compared to us, like Nigeria's 37 states. But you see that he knows that if they catch you, they take you to the commissar, you're messed up. You understand? Yeah. So it shows that Nigerians conform, like we did with seatbelt and all that. We know what to do, but it's just unfortunate. But let me ask you this. Which are the countries Nigeria is actually trading with now? Which countries are Nigeria core trade partners? And if you mention maybe the top 5, then tell us what sort of trade Nigeria is engaging with those countries.
Now, the major country that Nigeria currently trade with, I would look at it, first of all, from export, and then I'll look at it also from import. Now, let me look at it from export. I will share my screen. I want to show you the top import origin. And when you look at this, you will notice a challenge, because I have a challenge with this data because it shows a concentration risk. If you look at this, you see import origin for Nigeria. Can you see that 25% of Nigerian import is from China? 25%. That's a challenge, a very big challenge. A big challenge because anything happening in that country affects us so terribly. But it's not just Nigeria that is over-dependent on China. Many other countries are like that. And you can see United States, 6.9% of the total import. This is as at last year. So from China to Belgium to Netherlands to India to United States to Norway to South Korea to France to UAE and United Kingdom. UAE is particularly of interest to me. In 2018 or 19, because I remember then I went to the UK to conclude my MSc, and I was coming back. I passed through UAE because the guy that came to Nigeria to Chamber of Commerce brought in about 17 manufacturers in UAE to come and meet with Nigerian businessmen. That's the Export Dubai representative. I got his number. I went to see him to see how we can do business with them in Dubai. And so I knew when they started to want to export to Nigeria. But in 4 or 5 years, UAE is already among top 10 import origin of Nigeria. It's unthinkable for me.
Number 9.
When I went there that day, I remember the guy told me, he said, look, in this country, you don't tell the king story. When we're ready to do something, if you are going to tell story, leave the place. Performance is performance. Excuse is excuse. As far as he was telling me about their plan. And it looked like, okay, I'm sure 1.61%. They are not on this list before. Now, and when I saw it last year, when this report came out, I was wondering, UAE, that you would think they are tourism. They are still doing tourism, but they know they have competitor now in tourism within the Middle East. And they have decided not to just export services. Now they want to export products. They made up their mind to do it, and they are doing it already, and we can see the results in Nigeria. And you can see the major trading partners. But let's flip to the export side, the top export destination. Of course, the top export destination is predominantly crude oil export. And who are they? Spain, Netherlands, India, Indonesia, United States. So United States is among the top import and also among the top export. But what are we exporting to US? Crude oil. On this list, 85% is crude oil and gas, which is a challenge for us. A very, very big challenge for us whenever there is volatility in the market. France Italy, Saudi Arabia, Ivory Coast, and Canada. So these are our top trading partners. For the export, we're not doing very well. It's mainly crude. But for the import,
what are we exporting to Saudi Arabia?
Is that what?
What are we exporting to Saudi Arabia?
No. Not crude.
I know it's not crude. I know it's not crude. What's funny? No, I know it's all crude, so I'm just curious. Maybe human beings, because I know it.
It made you ask. I knew what was going on in your mind. That obviously, if crude, they will be important for Nigeria. If crude is the Nigerian major export. Other part, definitely Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia, our major export in Saudi Arabia is actually metal recycling. Metal recycling is the major export to Saudi Arabia. Metal recycling, organic spices, steel, agro commodity like ginger, sesame seed, aluminium ingot. Aluminium ingots, hibiscus flower. So mainly commodities, and of course processed minerals. Those are the major exports of Nigeria to Saudi Arabia.
Interesting. So, I mean, my last question will have been, I was going to talk about trade barriers and all that, but you more or less, you've answered most of those questions. We agree the politics is not helping matters at all. There's actually no stability. I was telling someone the other day, I think one of my episodes, I was like, okay, yeah, Obasanjo is the best president Nigeria has ever had, as far as I'm concerned. He might not be an extremely good candidate, but
as bad as he was at that time, when we compare, it's better than everybody.
It's better. I mean, he paid them, we started excess crude account, paid them, left very humongous money. Yeah, and what led to me saying is that maybe even if we had known, maybe we should have even allowed him to do the
talk.
Yes, now maybe we'll have light. But the snag there is that he brought Yar'Adua and subsequently Jonathan, because I know Yar'Adua stopped all the turbines and all the power IPP project and all that, which is very embarrassing, And when you look at the Emirates, the Qatars of this world, and we don't, I mean, I know it's not compulsory you have a national carrier. But it's always good for a country to have an airline, even if not owned by governments. It's good for your tourism.
It's good for tourism and for export.
And for export, exactly.
Of perishables at a competitive price, the way Kenya is doing. Is good. Like you said, there are so many arrangements that it might be national carrier, but don't necessarily fully owned by Nigeria. Something similar to what Ethiopia is doing. There's just something about us where many people, that's why for a number of things I do, it's a bit difficult for me working with a lot of government agencies. I work with a couple of them, but I realized that many people are self-serving. So for many, it's only, I've met fantastic ones. I've met fantastic ones. Like the current ED of NPC, fantastic. I can see all he wants to do. I can see, but when you're also within a structure that does not...
The bureaucracy.
You understand? Because I've had engagement with him and I know all he has in mind and wants to do. Also, their style of fund. Only Segun Awolowo was able to get the first ever major fund, 50 billion, to support exporter. Of course, I know some people will make money in the process, but I'm aware that of people because I'm part of the consultant that reviews some application for grant, and I know people that I recommend that got those grants. So I know people got it, of course, as usual. But if we have that kind of thing, because it happened only once, and because of COVID, and because of his influence, maybe because his relative is the wife of the vice president, his influence was able to get those things done. But since that time, we've not had such. We need that kind of fund coming in every now and then to support. Because if indeed we want to grow exports, sincerely, we can't. Where we are doing right now, I don't see us doing much within that space. There's nothing we are doing right now that shows that we're very serious. And I'm talking about at the level of presidency, because NEPC is doing a lot. They will tell you so many things they are doing. But when you look at what they are doing, the impact is very minimal because they don't have enough resources to do all that they want to do. And they don't have the backing of the president on many things. There's so many things they want to do. But they have, let me give you a good example. If I want to export from Nigeria, The cost of exporting by air from Ghana is so cheap compared from Nigeria. What the government agency will charge. NEPC is trying to get FAN to reduce that cost. FAN is not agreeing. And they are both working for the same president. Imagine the president is involved and tell FAN MD, you need to stop that charge. Stop it. Don't even charge. Stop it. Imagine that. Because the president hire him and will tell him what to do so that he can grow export. So now a lot of stuff can don't do many transactions by air. We can't be because export by air from Nigeria, you must have a lot of margin to be profitable because the cost is ridiculously high. Now it's even worse because of the issue we're having with FX right now.
Wow. You've heard from the experts, Bamidele. Thank you so much. It's almost time. We have just some minutes left. I mean, you've heard it. Instead of worrying about what's happening in Niger, we should worry about ourselves. Charity begins at home. Nigeria is the only oil-producing country in the whole world who does not have a functional refinery. I mean, it is very sad. It's really sad. There's nothing to celebrate. And I honestly think, and I've said it before, every institution of government counts. Like you said, the ship must sail in the same direction. It looks to me like the word patriotism died a long time ago. Everything is stomach infrastructure. Apologies to Fayose that started it. Everybody just want to what I will eat. And
what are we eat?
And to a very large extent, it's not as if I'm encouraging corruption, but there are people I know that are retired 1978, 79, 80, 82, 83, 85, all the way to 86, 87. And these guys were fantastic civil servants. They gave their best. They didn't steal anything. And, they retired. And do you know what? The moment they left government work, their life went down. I mean, I've seen people that were queuing, were begging to get pension. And they even died queuing for, so it shows you how horrible the Nigerian situation is,
Actually, that is one of the things fueling what they do. Like you said, not to encourage it, but it's fueling. So that's why, before we close, something happened when Dora was alive. I have friends then who were doing
Dora Akinyuli. Yes.
Yes. Who were doing IT. I have friends who are pharmacists who were doing IT, and many pharmacists don't want to go and do IT in NAFDA. You know what he did? He increased their allowances, but went frontally against any form of corruption. That was why NAFDA became a star, and they were stopping and able to stop and reduce significantly fake drugs coming into Nigeria. So he knew their challenges. He ensured he deal with issues on their the one he has control over, another one is not the, of course, salary that will have to be done by federal government. He was able to take care of that, but ensure if you are caught being corrupt, you are gone. Of course, they went after him. A lot of attempts against his life, and eventually, of course, he was still the best till today because he knew what the problem was. He was able to solve that problem. I'm made that analogy to say that if they are going to curb corruption, you also have to solve that problem first before you are now going to be able to go after the people having solved the problem, which is the fear that many of them have, and it's making them to do some of those things.
Yes, thank you, Bamidele. We're going to call it a wrap there. The conclusion is very easy. The judiciary must be transparent. The executive must be transparent. The legislature must be transparent. Everybody blames the politician. The civil servant too have to be transparent. We all have a role to play, but it does look like the ship is not sailing. In the same direction. We're like scalar quantities in physics now. Plenty magnitude, no direction. And it does look, I mean, like I said, I don't like being a pessimist, but the future does not look bright. Something must give. We need to recalibrate. And I think the first part to that is we've always said we need a new constitution and all that. We said India does, but our election must at least be free and fair. I really don't care who rules. The election just has to be free and fair.
It must show that the people put the person there and the people can sack it.
Exactly. Yeah. Enough of all this tribal and religious, So it's a wrap there. Bamidele, thank you for coming. I'm sure we're going to call you back again. Things keep changing. Thank you. God bless you, bro. God bless you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, to our listeners and viewers at home, thank you. This is Atlanta Discuss. It's a wrap now. I mean, you've learned so much already. The country has to move forward, the largest concentration of Black people, but it cannot be done without we getting our acts together. It's not just having the numbers, we have to do it properly. Thank you all. Bye.